the first time, Jesus came riding on a donkey. But when he returns, he will come on a white horse as a conquering king. In the first time, he came as a humble servant, but he will return as a sovereign king. In the first coming, he came to suffer and to die. But when he returns, he will come in glory to reign forever. In the first time, he was seen by only a few people. But when he returns, the Bible says, every eye will see him. In the first time, he came to save, but he will return to judge and to fulfill every word and every prophecy. In the first time, he wore a crown of thorns, but when he returns, he will come crowned in glory and majesty. In the first come, he stood silent before his accusers, but he will return to the sound of trumpets. In the first time, Jerusalem rejected the Messiah, but when he returns, he will reign in Jerusalem. In the first time, he came in weaknesses, but when he returns, he will come in power. In the first time, he offered mercy, but when he returns, he will execute judgment. In the first time, he carried a heavy cross, but when he returns, he will carry a sword. In the first time, he prayed, Father, forgive them. But when he returns, he will execute judgment upon them. In the first time, his glory was hidden in human flesh. But when he returns, the heavens, he will reveal all his majesty.